Daily trading recap here for this Friday, the 28th of January, 2022. Again, no trades for me on the day. It's going to be a nice, short, and succinct little video just going over some fundamentals for me for reference in the future. SPY coming in with an incredibly strong close today, 2.4% in the green we're showing. This was another day, too, that I came into pre-market thinking, gosh, I should just go all in on puts on the SPY just right out of the gate. And sure enough, the times that I don't do that, go on that thesis, because it's just so subjective and it's not based on anything. It's just, I think the market's going to go down. I think that's what it's going to do. It drops like beautiful, and it would have been an over 100% move options wise trading expert calls that or puts that expire today. But it's whatever. Don't care. It's fine. Pretty nice volume today and little recovery. Still in this range, though, not necessarily showing that it's the dip bottom, but very, very strong day today out of SPY to end the week and strong into the close here. Just for dollar volume around the horn for markets, NASDAQ $296 billion volume, NYSE $418 billion volume, OTC's $2.5 billion volume as of 6 minutes after the close here. Yeah, like I mentioned, again, just no trades for me. Nothing really hard or keen that I had my eye on other than like TGGI, which I was watching a little bit. And it's days like this that I remind myself or just continue to get in that little debate or dilemma with myself of when there's not a lot of opportunities out there, it's kind of slim pickings. When those little opportunities come, there is that hesitation in me to say, okay, is that really a chart that I'm seeing? And sure enough, by the time that I'm thinking that, then the trade has really already happened, and it's, I missed my entry window. But it is that line too of I can't try to force trades like that and just think anything I see, well, I can't miss my chance to get in on it and use that FOMO. I still have to control myself and understand, there's not a lot of plays, and I'm going to miss the little simple kind of, oh, hey, I think this chart could go do this from this point. And sure enough, it goes and does that. I'm going to have a lot of those in this type of market because it's just I'm not willing to take that risk or chance with the lesser probability of those plays happening in this type of market, regardless of what playbook trade it is. I think the market certainly does have some impact on those plays working out, because that's really my whole basis for my playbook trades, is keeping this recent little database for how these charts have been moving, of what are first day plays doing in the past 2 to 3 weeks, what are second day plays doing, third day plays, first red day plays, after hours spikes coming into the next pre-market days. What are these charts? What's the sentiment been? It doesn't matter what they've done 2-3 years ago, and using those charts as an archival thing of, oh, we could play the panic dip buy for this specific pattern. It doesn't matter if it's never been shown in the past 4 trading weeks, let alone the past 6 months, right? Because who's going to care? But just, continuing that dilemma of my trading career, and I think wisely staying in cash for the present moment. I could convince myself to do more paper trading and just any thought I do have, throw it on with paper and just convince myself that way and see where my data lies in that regard, instead of just kind of just watching it go by the wayside and not really missing out on a good, decent amount of experience of not being in anything. But the debate or dilemma on that side too of, is this type of experience really the type of charts and markets that I want to be experiencing, or kind of saving my mental capital and just putting the focus on studying hard, going over the webinars of the past of the hot markets, or when plays actually worked out pretty consistently, repeatably every single day, even every week, reliably, using that as a metric, and then understanding as an overall trader that those are times I have to be slamming more, and I can't be cautious during those times when the opportunities truly do show themselves, versus where I could be totally just paper here in these types of markets and these types of days like this, was just not a lot of hotness coming in. But always, again, opportunity out there to make money, and the little times, the little blips that being in front of the screen saying, oh yeah, I think it could do this from here. Oh shoot, okay, missed it. Well, on to the next one. It's those little times that are just continuing to build who I am as a trader and setting me up for the days when I know I can push the button willingly and strongly motivated, convicted that way to push the button. Let's just talk over a few tickers. Mentioned Tiggy, went over dollar volume. Yeah, Tiggy OTC, second day play. Not a huge volume day yesterday, but decent little percentage move going from a cent to 14 there. However, to metric that, 14 hundredths of a penny, 14 thousandths of a penny, whatever metric that is. But again, I got the screen recording of the level 2 and time sales in this one today. Got a nice little gap up, but it was just short of 15. that line there. So open just below that, hoping to see a gap up above there, and then we could just print, maybe just even continue to ramp from there out of the morning bell, but ended up dumping below there, and sure enough, a lot of people holding this thing overnight looking to sell right away, and got a huge smackdown through the previous close, that red to green line of 14 there. Jumped all the way, had a little dip, but just kind of chopped around. Really nothing else to come of it the rest of the day on Tiggy. So glad I was not in front of that and having to panic myself out in that sell-off. But still good watch and lesson in that level 2 time sales on that one. INDO, just crazy mover yesterday. Coming into today, it just seems like, reading in the chat, that Jack number 2, Jack Schwartz, he just plays this one perfectly. Oh yeah, I actually have a little bit small during this initial perk here. Oh yeah, I think it could just be the end of the perk here, and then it just fades off. Oh, sure enough, that's exactly what it does. It just seems like he's, of course, it's probably the farthest from what's actually happening, but it just seems that way. And I could say that thing for a lot of things, especially in the Twitter world or social media, of just, oh, everybody seems to be predicting everything perfectly. But yeah, where was I going with that? Of just not believing those lies and understanding that's not always the truth, and majority of the time it is not truth. But he sure seemed to have a keen eye or smell for what this one was going to do today. And I even, coming into this as it was halting, within, what minute was this? The 5th minute after market open, as it comes in this little, call it a short halt to the upside. I'm thinking, after we've seen a lot of these halts in the morning volatility, they just end up dumping right after that. And there's not any continuation or speed past that unhalting. So the thought was, oh yeah, I could get paper short. The thought was, oh yeah, I would short this thing. And sure enough, that became a nice opportunity to get short, dumping hard right after that for the next 3 minutes, consolidating a little bit, but then spiking against that. But even at that $7 range-ish, taking it down, taking it 6.4 even. Decent little short trade for 2-3 minutes. Just of recognizing little things like that, like I mentioned in the introduction. Then just pure fade the whole rest of the trading day on INDO, IQST. Another OTC that's closing pretty nicely. I was tempted to take this one overnight. Decent little volume day, closing nicely at that 67-cent mark. Not the most beautiful volume. Doesn't give me a turn on for how many dojis this thing was doing, and then dollar volume even today. $3 million volume in the day. Not terrible, but 1,300 trades is not pristine for me. It's just hard for me to get convicted on it, for me to feel passionate about actually holding a full position size on this thing overnight, especially with these OTCs, which I haven't been in quite lately. But certainly keep it on watch going into Monday for next week. And then KSCP. Also just going crazy that I had to mention. Another thought on this one of, this was the crazy one. It's like 2-day mover, recent mover here. But of the crazy move that I had, the pre-market today dumps off of that, and then now coming super hard into the close, halting, and then having to be waiting until opening in the after hours. And then another thought there too of, oh gosh, so many shorts are stuck in this thing. This thing is just perking so hard against all these stuck shorts from yesterday. This thing could produce some craziness in after hours. You should just buy right away as soon as after hours opens. And sure enough, that would have been a pretty awesome opportunity there. Even getting in like sub 17, getting a little buy, selling just right away to mid 18s or just sub $19 range there. That's a pretty awesome little trade. But yeah, just how much I can be convicted enough to actually do that type of trade for who knows what the top of this thing is. It could go to $25. It could just immediately smack against you, go to $16. Just those type of speculative trades in this type of market, it just doesn't feel, I don't feel as convicted enough to try and take those. But, maybe going paper on a lot of these more is something that I have to do just to still have that involvement and educational experience while still understanding, hey, I do not really feel comfortable for the trading situation I'm in right now to be throwing real cash at this. But I could see this thing spiking hard to $20 immediately from here in this little cuppy pattern. We'll see if it ends up doing that for the after hours craziness. But yeah, I'm not going to touch it. Just let it do what it wants to do. That is all I had. Gosh, just tough market environments. Other stuff has got to be dealt with or adjusted in the real life situation as well, because now we got a lot of free time to be doing other things, to be stepping away from the market and continuing to refresh ourselves, get a little reprieve from the craziness and just a refreshment of the palate of who we are as a person, and bring that back to apply to the trading career as well. So that is all I had. I sincerely thank you guys for watching. We will catch you guys on the next one.